students, this is Dr. Avidha. Today we are going to start antihistaminic agents. Antihistaminic agents are the drugs or the class of drug which are able to cure the allergic reactions. So basically what are the concept behind this histaminic agents or the antihistaminic agents, and what are the specific compounds which are actually working behind it, and some outline we will discuss first. This is what are the histamines and what is allergy and what is the role of histamine in allergy, and some antihistamines we will discuss, and the classification of histamine we will discuss. So the basic outline or the basic introduction related to the antihistamine we will discuss today. So how the histamine generate. Actually, what is histamine? Histamine is a imidazole derivative of alkylamine. So the 5-membered ring with 2 nitrogens and alkyl chain with the dialkyl amine, it is called histamine. Basically it is called histamine. And how it is generated, this we will discuss in synthesis. So how this synthesize? Histidine is an amino acid which is found in our body when it decarboxylate. In presence of histidine decarboxylase enzyme, it converted into histamine, and when this histamine is secreted from the body, it creates some specific kind of allergic. So whenever you feel itching, inflammation or edema, that all just because of histamine secretion in the body. So we'll discuss many type of allergies. Some are the chronic and some are the very normal allergies. So this is the synthesis of histamine. Histamine is just nothing, this is decarboxylation of histidine amino acids. Amino acids are present in protein part. So this is very general, very common reaction. Histamine actually having some receptors. So some histamine receptors are found in our body in form of proteins. H1 receptors, H2 receptor, H3 receptors and H4 receptors. H1 and H2 are the very common in majority of the area found. These all are the protein receptors actually, G1 proteins. So H1 found in the smooth muscles and the endothelium in the central nervous system tissues, and H2 located in parietal cells, and H3 found in the central nervous system and to a lesser extent peripheral nervous system, and H4 found in the primary basophils and the bone marrow, and it is also found the onthomus. So the basic location of these the H1 receptors are like that, and the function is given as you can see. Allergy, actually the most common allergy triggers we will discuss. So some people are allergic with some specific kind of aroma, some are allergic with some specific kind of food, some animal secretion also create a kind of allergy, some animals and some ant and nettle sting is also creating allergies. Some people are allergic with some specific kind of medicines also. So these are common allergy triggers which can create allergy, or you can say these are the allergens. So the pollens, animal danders, food, medication, specific fragrance and latex, and some insects, molds, insect sting or the cockroaches, moles also. So these all are the allergy triggers which can create a kind of allergy. Allergic reaction can be created by 3 or 4 medium, either skin contact or the injection or the ingestion or the inhalation. So by the direct skin contact also, some poisonous plant, when we are touching some poisonous, come in the contact of some poisonous plant, it can create some irritation or some rashes or some redness or some edema kind of situation, that is allergic. And some animal secretions are also allergic. So some saliva of some animal, cats and dogs, create allergic reactions. So some people, the pollen, some flowers having some pollen grains and which are also allergic, which also create some allergic reactions. So injection is whenever an ant or nettle or any kind of bee that sting, ant or nettle sting is creating a kind of allergy. So the skin is swollen, or some methanoic acid or some other acids are. So ant or nettle sting, the red ant is beaten, and the time methanoic acid is formed in our body and a kind of redness is created, that is also an allergic reaction. Ingestion, some people are some consumption, some people are with some food items or some medications, they are quite allergic with that. So some specific medications are allergic for some specific people. Inhalation, some and we people are some allergic for some specific kind of dust or mold or some animal dander or some specific kind of aroma. So this fragrance, we are allergic with this fragrance. So this kind of wordings or this kind of situations we always face somewhere. We seen that the people are specifically allergic with some specific food. So these are 4 mode of allergic reactions. So by the skin contact it can be possible, by injections it can be possible, by ingestion it is possible, by inhalation also. So these are the 4 mode or the contact way how these allergic reactions happen. H1 antihistamines, actually H1 to H4, 4 kind of receptors are found, and these receptors are accepting actually histamine. So these 4 receptors are actually working on antihistamines. So the H1 antihistamines are the drug of first generation antihistamines, in which the basic structure of antihistamine is just 2 phenyl ring connected within carbon, oxygen or any nothing, carbon, oxygen or nitrogen or anything else, and with 2 dialkyl amine with a ethyl chain. So in the basic structure of H1 antihistamine, you can see this active pharmacophore part is nitrogen is connected with 2 alkyl group. This is only the part where it interact with the histamine and blocking the activity of histamine, and this phenyl chain provide the activity, provide the stability of the structure. So basically we'll discuss about the structural detail of this compound, because pharmacology we'll discuss later on. Now structural part will become. So this amino part is responsible for the specific activity or blockage of histamine, and this phenyl rings are responsible for arranging or providing the stability of the structure. So H1 antihistamines are the first generation antihistamines which are basically non-selective and having some basic side effects also, because these are working on some other receptors also on place of H1 and these are the examples of antihistamines. This is diphenyldramine, this is diamine and hydrinate, and these are the specific types of antihistamine, H1 antihistamine, based on the substituted side chain, ethanolamine, ethylamine, alkylamine, piperazines, phenanthrazines and piperazines. So whatever the substituted side chain is attached, the H1 antihistamine will having some specific kind of activity reduce or increase. These antihistamines are quite non-selective by nature, so that is why this is only the reason, because these are blocking the activity of H1 receptor as well as the muscarinic receptor as well as the alpha adrenergic receptor and serotonergic receptors and ICAR and other cardiac channels also. So some side effects which are generated in case of H1 antihistamines are like that. So they are suppressing the CNS activity, so this create a kind of sedation or neurological disorders also. Muscarinic receptors generate some UTI infections and some other UTI problems, and alpha adrenergic receptor generate dizziness and the trigardia and some hypotensions alike, and serotonergic receptors when this blocking then create appetite increase. So these are the basic, and some cardiac issues also create due to some cardiac channel interaction. So these antihistamine, H1 antihistamine creates some basic side effects which are just because of the interaction of these specific receptors. So on place of these are well interacting with H1 receptor, as well as these are creating some side effect or the adverse effect also. So these side effects can be minimized in case of the second generation antihistamine. Second generation antihistamine is having two phenyl ring attached with piperidine ring or another kind of nitrogen ring with alkyl chain. So this alkyl chain is basically in the interaction or the binding site for with the receptors, create a binding site with the receptor. So wherever the alkyl chain or the hydroxyl, this is the protonetic part where this will interact hydrophilic part. This hydroxy part is interacting the hydrophilic part, and this piperidine is actually basically responsible for the specific biological activity or the interaction or the blockage of histamine. So these second generation antihistamines are non-sedative. These are not creating any kind of sleeping sickness or something else. In the first generation, that was a sleeping sickness as a side effects. So for the insomnia patient, we can use the first generation antihistamine, but the second generation antihistamines are quite specific. So these are the two examples of basic second generation antihistamine. As you well know, second generation antihistamine is cetirizine and the levocetirizine, and Vanadril is first generation antihistamine. So the very common antihistamines, it's actually antihistamines are very normal medicines. People are generally consuming. Side effects of second generation antihistamines. Second generation antihistamine having very rare side effects, but on the higher consumption, definitely these are creating a kind of abdominal pain or the coughing or the drowsiness. These are creating on the higher consumption, not on the normal level consumption. They are creating any kind of side effects, but on the higher consumption it created. Thank you.